interesting about him is that he's really changed. He has reevaluated. He makes the NFL reevaluate how they evaluate college quarterbacks.
I agree.
Because for so many years, they would get the guy who was the tallest dude with the strongest arm, who showed flashes in college, and then draft him high, sit him on the bench for a while, and hope that he comes out medium rare in a couple of years after sitting at 350. Now it seems like, there's been so many failures at that type of playing, at that type of development, including Trey Lance. You got Brock Purdy working out. Seems like a lot of teams are trying to follow that blueprint, and it's an easier blueprint to follow.
Yeah, let's just the one draft, whatever year, it was Trevor Lawrence, and then it was
Zach Wilson.
Oh, poor Zach Wilson. He's so confused. And Trey Lance. And you could say none of them lived up to expectations.
Mac
and
Jones has got benched.
Two of them made busts. Yeah, he was in that draft as well.
Yeah.
So I think what we're seeing is, first of all, say how many rookie quarterbacks are starting now, Iggy? You gave me that today.
Well, 10 have started a game this season. 10. And more will. But that's a trend.
It's a trend. So I think what the scouts are catching up to, we're not looking for the best athlete. We're looking for someone who, it's like a computer, who's fully loaded, who's played a lot in college.
Upside, forget
fully
upside.
Loaded. And what you want is someone like Brock Purdy, who knows what he's looking at, can take advantage, can kill a zone, can take advantage, has a quick release, gets it out fast so he doesn't get sacked, is precise, puts it on the numbers, all of that kind of stuff, and is cheap.
Yep.
So you can have good players around him.
No development required, cheap, can play right away.
Absolutely.
Because if you draft a quarterback in the second or third pick and he doesn't work out, or you developed him for 3 years and he plays, he doesn't work out, you're fired. That's it. But if you get a guy, you can always get a guy on the 4th round, the 5th round, who played a lot of football in college, who's ready to go, no development required, advanced but not talented, no upside, but he can run a team, and you can put a good team around him. That's what the Niners have. I feel like that's what a lot of teams are trying to do. The Raiders are now going with Aiden O'Connell. They've won 2 games in a row. Is he good? I don't know. He's okay. He's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's cheap. Now you can put something around him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo is the old. He's the old way of looking at it. Aiden O'Connell is the new way. Brock is the new way.
Right. The old way was find a mediocre quarterback, find a starter, and just pay him way too much money and say, hey, at least we got a starting quarterback. Now it's like, nah, get a rookie to do that. Pay him 1/30 of that.
Trey Lance was like that. They paid him a lot of money.
Right.
That's and clearly they never liked him. They never liked him.
And I think what's happening is now more than ever, they pass a lot more in college than they did 30 years ago when I was a kid. They were running the option in college. Now there's a lot of passing. A lot of these quarterbacks started 4 years, have thrown 1,000, 1,500 passes, and they're available in round 5. And if you have a good team and a good coach, you might just be able to put them in there and win for cheap at a position that's extremely expensive. More teams are trying to do it. It seems actually more attainable than drafting some guy with some traits and aging him in oak barrels.
So, Iggy, what you're saying is there's a philosophical shift in football.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And it's, I think, spearheaded by the 49ers and Brock Purdy. It's the most expensive position in the league. These guys get $50-60 million a year. If you can get good play for $90,000 a year, that allows you to get 3 or 4 other players who are elite. 3 or 4.
I want to say something. You were very generous, and you said it's been spearheaded by the Niners. They didn't spearhead Jack. They went for Trey Lance. They happened to have this guy hanging around with the water cooler and with the ball boys. And when everything else failed, they say, could you give it a shot? They didn't spearhead. They lucked into.
That is true.
And then they thought, oh, my God, we got a savior. Look what we got. And we saved money.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
It's true. That's a
spearhead.
That is much more. Yeah, sorry. That's the wrong verb.
The wrong vibe.
Love the Cone Zone. Long live and happy Papa Cone, says Marcel Wickerson. Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you, Marcel, very much.
Mars73 says, hey, Cone Dog, these shows that you do with your pops are awesome. Hoping that one day my pops and I have this type of relationship. Just wanted to say thank you for everything you do covering this team.
Thanks, Mars73. And you know what? I only do this once a week with Grant Iggy, but it's really the high point of my week. I like to talk about sports, but to do something with my son, who I love this much, is terrific. It brings a joy to my heart.
Thanks, Dad. El Penguin says, would you guys rather have a super team that is inconsistent / underperforms like SF, or a middle talent team that overperforms consistently?
What a good question. I would maybe want to go for the middle talent team. What about you, Iggy?
Well, I'd rather cover the super team that underperforms. I think that's more fun to cover.
Oh, right. I understand.
Then they need
as a
quality
journalist,
control. Yeah.
They need. Yeah, I love it. As a journalist, you'd want that team.
Yeah. Fish and Chip says 3 losses, 2 coach brain farts, 1 derriere whipping. 2 coach brain farts. Yeah. Joseph Stockbridge says, this is unrelated to football, but are you guys familiar with Ram Dass, aka Richard Alpert? If so, how do you interpret him and his teachings?
I've heard of him, but I don't know anything about him.
I don't. Geo Dude says Niners don't need Purdy to be elite. They need him to be humble and play like he's on that farm, being the unsung hero.
Agree. Totally agree.
Keith Murphy says, Papa Cone, just because they lucked into it doesn't mean they didn't spearhead it. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right?
I wouldn't call that a spearhead. I'd call that a nice confluence of events.
I like that. James Welsh says, disagree with this take. Nothing has really changed. Look at the top quarterbacks in the league, all first rounders. You stick with average if you have no option.
I don't think Purdy is average. I think he's way above average.
Right.
I do.
I'm not saying teams are going to stop drafting quarterbacks in the first round because Brock Purdy exists. I'm saying teams are going to be prioritizing playing their quarterbacks as fast as possible. Get guys who can get on the field. This whole idea of drafting a guy and developing him on the bench for multiple years, I think that's over with. I don't think teams are going to do. It's too risky when you can get safe. And also spending $30-35 million a year on middle of the road quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that's over with. All because Brock Purdy exists. That's what I would say. Keith Murphy, Montana and Young were super and had super teams.
You bet.
Anoop says Purdy is playing absolutely outstanding football. Defense made some personnel adjustments and excelled. Will Kyle tweak the offensive line and replace Colton McKivitz? We'll see. He might. He's hurt this
I don't
week.
think he's hurt. I didn't know that. One thing I would say about Kyle, and it's either good or bad, and I don't know, he's very patient with his players. He is. Yes. He doesn't make changes willy-nilly out of fear or anything like that. And actually, I'm going to say it's positive. I don't know what he's like as a person. I don't know. But the way he handles his players, he gives them chances.
Yes, he does.